How are you?
Good yourself?
Good, good, thank you. Sorry, it's been obviously a busy morning for you.
Yeah, sorry about that. As I got up, yeah, Kim just pulled me into the room quickly to take me through some stuff.
Oh, no, it's no problem at all. Yeah, I like your profile pic. Is that a sloth?
Yeah, it's an astronaut sloth.
Sloths. Myself
Really?
and the kids, yeah. I don't know if you've seen this movie about the I can't remember what it's called, but it's I don't know if you ever watch animation. But it's there's a scene in this movie, kids movie, where everybody who works at the I can't remember what they call, but the traffic department, like the American traffic department, they're all sloths. So all the people behind the desks are all sloths, and it's obviously like a metaphor for like how slowly things move.
Yeah.
But it's a really, really cool movie. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if just a quick question. How much time do you have? Like, do you
Uh,
have an hour, or is that going to be quite
yeah.
hard? Okay, okay,
That should be fine.
okay. Look, if you have to run, then just let me know. But the interview with Malta took half an hour, and it seemed like it just kind of happened all by itself. I was thinking half an hour, and that's exactly how long it took. So, if
Okay, cool.
okay, well, yeah, like I say, if you have to run, that's fine as well. Um, Malta didn't really have that much background about why or what we were trying to do with the copywriting for Afrolabs, and I don't know, are you also kind of in the same boat, or
Yeah. Yeah, that
okay?
would be.
Okay, so yeah, just really quick, so you know, like where I'm coming from. So David wants to do some blog posts or articles. He hasn't really he hasn't really decided exactly, like, what type of copy it's going to be. It might end up on your website as a case study, and I believe there is space for blog posts. So he hasn't really decided, the category it's going to fall into, but basically it's some copy about the products you guys have designed and developed, over the years, or past few years. And the target audience is comprised of other developers, the entrepreneurs themselves, and investors as well. And with that in mind, we kind of, or David's idea was that the copy should show the perspectives of all three parties, so
Okay.
that the
That's quite
audience
cool.
to it. Yeah, well, that's, yeah, it's yeah. Hopefully, it's not too ambitious. Um, so yeah, please forgive me if I ask anything that seems very obvious to you. I don't have a tech background. My only tech background is Stephen.
Yeah.
So, I might not be able to ask the right questions, but I do kind of want quite, well, fairly technical answers, because otherwise it's just not going to be believable, to anybody who's reading it. Um, yeah, I'm trying to work out how everyone, how everyone fits in, and how you all contribute. So yeah, my questions might not be very technical, or might seem a bit obvious. But yeah, so with that in mind, the first question is, what is your job title and your sort of job description at Afrolabs?
Um, yeah, I guess I'm just one of the developers here.
Uh-huh.
Definitely not at Malta or Stevens level. Although probably between mid slash senior. David likes to use the word senior, but I don't know, maybe mid developer, mid level is probably a fairly
Okay.
well accurate.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so that's my job description. Yeah.
Okay. Um, and how long have you been with with the company, with Afro Labs?
I want to say over 4 years now.
Sorry, what was that?
It's always get confused. It's either just over 3 years now or just over 4 years. I
Okay.
can probably confirm that and send it to you over Skype. It should be on my link. I'll just have to go double check.
Okay. Yeah, no, Malta also wasn't sure. Yeah, he had to go on LinkedIn just to double check. So so were you, I can't remember when the name change happened, but were you with them when it was called what's it, information logistics? Were you with them since?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was.
Okay. Sorry, are you checking, or I'm not sure?
No, what? Sorry. Oh, for my how long I've been working here for.
Yeah. You don't have to check, but I wasn't sure what you were doing, if you were checking or if you were waiting for me.
No. Well, let me actually just try see if I can quickly check here. So I'm actually on my phone in the boardroom. I don't have my computer in front of me, but let me see.
Okay. Sure.
I think I might be able to get it for you.
Yeah, if you can't, if it's too, taking too long, it's fine. You can, maybe send it to me later.
Okay, so yeah, it's just short of 4 years that I've been here.
Okay. Just short for okay. Okay, almost 4 years. Okay. I am recording the conversation, but just in case the recording is.
Sorry, I'm actually lying to you. It's actually it's about 4.5 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's a good sign. They say, time flies when you're having fun. So that's a very good sign that you've been there for 4.5 years. Okay, and then specifically with the Cowabunga, the project, what role did you specifically play with that?
Sure. So originally, I was sort of involved in sort of. I mean, I don't know if Malta obviously has informed you that obviously the Kawabanga software kind of, came about due to something else that we're working on at one
Yes.
point. I don't know if that's been discussed, called AfroCAD.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, like my original involvement with it was actually to sort of move that code base over to kind of this thing that we call the starter pack now. It's basically something that Malta and Matthew wrote, which it basically has all like the learnings and stuff that we've had over the any years we've been doing this for into like one little package. I'm probably explaining it terribly.
No. I actually no. Please, so everybody's given me obviously a bit of information, but yeah, I just want you to kind of talk as if I haven't been given that information, because then you could end up giving me a perspective that nobody else has, or tell me something that nobody else has. Like nobody used that term starter pack, so I've actually made a note of it. So yeah, just speak to me as though I don't know what they said, or what I mean, because yeah, it would be nice to know, your perspective or how you saw it. Yeah. So no, cool. I'm understanding so far.
Cool. So basically the original idea was to sort of duplicate that code, get it working in what we call the starter pack, and obviously as well just implement like a lot of the new things that we've been doing and learning and things like that. So that was my first involvement with Cowabunga. It was kind of just setting that up.
Okay.
Yeah, then I know Matthew and Malta sort of took the lead after that for quite some time.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my initial involvement in the project.
I see. Sorry, can you just explain the starter pack a bit further? What exactly do you mean by that? Because nobody else has used that term.
So basically, obviously, like over the years, I mean, this I think has always been an idea, specifically one of Malta's ideas. So like over the years, like we start new, projects for a client. We'll we like start new work, and we always just end up copying and pasting, useful code that we've done in the past. So essentially the idea of the starter pack was to kind of take the most common used pieces of code that we use as far as like,
Right.
the Google App Engine and Python and sort of front-end frameworks are concerned, taking that and just bundling it up into the sort of, this
Ah,
package that you can install and boom, everything's there and you save a lot of time.
okay.
Instead of like setting up something from scratch, you've got this thing
Right.
that's already sort of set up for you and it has pretty much everything that you will kind of need to get started.
Okay, I see. I see. So is that so that I take it is also a separate thing from the fact that the software was built for the taxi company, the Nigerian taxi company. So there was that part of it that you had this existing product, and then there was also the starter pack from which you guys work on and develop further. So that you're talking about two separate
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Okay.
essentially it is two separate things. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then if I understood correctly, Malta explained that yourself and Jess work more on the front end. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, most of my involvement has sort of been the front end for Kawabanga.
Okay. So is it that you guys, just so I can kind of imagine what happens, the process, is it that you all kind of work um, concurrently, or like you do one part and then you hand it over, or is it vice versa, or does everybody just kind of work sort of simultaneously?
Yeah, so I mean, for the most part, yeah, we all sort of work simultaneously. We obviously keep track of what we're doing on Trello and obviously like meetings and things like that. So we don't have people sort of like working on the same thing at the same time. So
Right.
we obviously do have enough, like a lot of communication within the team, just so we all know what we're doing and what we should and shouldn't be doing.
Okay. Okay. Um, and then when um, when David first sort of discussed the project with all of you, and his idea that he wanted this existing product to be refashioned and repurposed for Cowabunga. What was your reaction to that? Did you sort of anticipate any obstacles, or what concerns did you have, or is it more a case of for the front end doesn't really affect the front end that much, whether it's an existing product that's being repurposed? Yeah.
Um, Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think there was anything like super concerning. I think obviously the one thought in my mind was the fact that the software was, like a few years old. It hasn't been touched in a long time, and obviously to get it
Okay.
going again.
I see.
Um, but yeah, I believe Matthew and potentially Malta as well were quite involved in sort of getting the actual platform running again. Because obviously it's been so long since it's run, like libraries have been updated and certain
Okay.
things don't work anymore. So that was the initial concern, but obviously Malta and Matt sort of sorted that out. As for like changing the front end stuff, as far as styling was concerned, there wasn't
Mhm.
much, and that is mostly due to
Oh,
the fact that it was quite a lightweight app as far as like designs and stuff, where there wasn't that much branding in it anyway.
oh, I see. Okay. 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 That's interesting. Um, and well, was there anything that you found particularly easy about the Cowabunga project, or sort of quite straightforward compared to other projects you've worked on or have since worked on? Did you find anything like, oh, this is quite sort of straightforward?
Um, sure.
Yeah, I know it's requiring a bit of sort of going into your archives because Malta was
Yeah.
also like, gosh, I can't really remember.
Yeah, there's nothing sort of like coming to mind. I mean, for me personally, this was actually interestingly enough when I first wrote information logistics.
Mm-hmm.
The taxi app Africabs at the time was one of the first things I actually looked at and worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, I see.
yeah, I don't know. For me, it's Yeah, it's hard for me to say there's anything specifically easy on it, and that's mostly due to the fact that, yeah, I mean, it does do quite a lot of fancy things, and I think a lot of the fancy stuff was originally sort of created by Malta and Matthew again. So yeah,
I,
as
I
far
see.
as what the stuff that I've done has been concerned, I mean, styling and things, that's
Hmm.
not the hardest thing to do. So,
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Um, and from any challenges that you expected to have, at the start of the project, did any of those challenges actually materialize, or did others crop up? Other issues or challenges, did others crop up that you actually weren't expecting? If you
um,
remember any.
yeah, look, I think some of the biggest sort of like things that have cropped up has mostly been the like specific integrations now, like for Nando's and Domino's.
Okay,
Because obviously these different, restaurants require sort of different ways of integrating and different ways of handling, how we sort of create these trips for the drivers and send the drivers out. I know there's been a few sort of unexpected complication on the Android app that sort of had
I
to get resolved.
okay.
Um,
And for
but yeah,
yourself,
nothing super. Sorry.
nothing that you specifically faced.
I think that I.
Well, yeah, I mean, as both Stephen and Malta mentioned, the Blue Light Brigade that Nando's wanted, and both of them mentioned that separately. Was that
Yeah.
something that affected you?
So
That
no, obviously that was more Shane. That was more Stephen's thing that he was kind of resolving.
okay.
I think from my end, something that sort of was a bit of an issue that kind of had to sort of resolve was if
Mm.
a driver had more than like 5 trips assigned to them, you couldn't cancel the trips. So but that was just more like a kind of like a bug that sort of had to get resolved, and obviously it was hanging around for a while.
Okay, okay. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm trying to just find, because I've asked the same questions to all of you, and it's just nice to get some. I mean, that's completely different. Nobody, to what Malta said, obviously, um, and Stephen, I haven't really spoken with Jess yet. I'm waiting. But um, what aspects of the final product were you most proud of, without being modest?
um, sure. I don't know. Like, I think in general, I mean, it's a very cool piece of technology, and I'm very grateful that I had a chance to sort of be a part of it. Yeah, I think for me, the sort of back end, what we refer to as the DOS,
Mhm. Yeah.
dispatch operation system or something like that.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Obviously, for me, that's where I've spent most of my time working on the front end, be it styling or front end logic, or even just the back end logic around that DOS
I
screen.
see.
But yeah, I don't know. I do definitely enjoy looking at that screen. It
Okay.
basically it's a map. It shows you where your drivers are, it shows you what trips they're on, it shows you where the branch is. You can track your drivers. Your drivers can send messages to you on that screen. You can send messages back to your drivers on that screen. So yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that
And then
answers
yeah,
the question. No,
yeah,
my bad.
yeah, no, totally, totally. Stephen also mentioned DOS, and so I'm just trying to, yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to like make sense of it and trying to like piece it together with what Stephen told me. So I'm trying to kind of, envision, because obviously for somebody like me, all this is very, very abstract.
Yeah,
Um,
so
yeah.
basically the
Mm.
branch would be like if you go like if it would be in the branch itself, you'd have like a big screen, for example, and that
Yeah.
screen would basically be showing the Cowabunga DOS for your branch. And
I
basically you can kind of manage your sort of deliveries from the screen.
I see. I see. Okay. Yeah, I'm like I said, when the the copy is all kind of well, definitely with the draft and obviously the final product. I want to be able to include enough technical details to make it a worthwhile read for people, in your world. And but at the same time, I also need to kind of grasp the concepts myself in order to make it, sound authentic.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'm not sure. I assume this affects everybody at Afrolabs, but um, I believe that you all use the Google Cloud platform as one
Yeah.
of your main products, and I guess this applies to you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We do. I do.
Okay. And tell me, do you think that this um, has a lot to do with the success of the end product? Both Cowabunga and other products you guys have worked on. Do you think that's a big part of your success that you can attribute to the Google Cloud platform?
Yeah. I mean, I do believe it's a really great platform. Yeah, I mean, it definitely does allow us to sort of move quick. We don't have to worry about things like, like servers going down and scaling because it kind of just does it all for us.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it really is a great platform that definitely does play a big part in what we do. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure you've worked with other tools in the past. How do you think it compares? What are
So that, that,
the
that, that that's actually the interesting thing is that actually for me, before I actually joined this company, I was literally just like a web designer somewhere.
okay.
So for me, this is actually literally, yeah, the sort of only tool. I mean, I do know of other tools like AWS and things like that, but I've never used them, so it probably wouldn't be fair for me to try and compare.
Okay. No, that's great. I mean, that's obviously all these little details are interesting. That this is all you've ever used, and it kind of shows you know how quickly the tool has sort of taken over.
Yeah.
That there are people in your field who haven't used anything else. So okay, and then Richard, just one more question, and we've got 5 minutes left, so it's perfect. Um, in your opinion, just from a general personal opinion, but also from a technical point of view, why do you think Cowabunga has found success in such a short period?
Um,
Any insights?
yeah, I mean, there's probably, well, I mean, I think that the idea itself is really cool. I also think Brad and Kim are obviously really good at what they're doing. They're obviously just great people to work with, and I definitely do feel like that sort of plays a big part in, approaching people and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I just think the idea for Cowabunga, there is definitely a gap for it in the market. And I mean,
Mm,
it's like one of those things where it seems like, why isn't there a solution for this? But there doesn't
right.
really seem to be one.
Yes.
So I mean, it's almost giving, like companies and restaurants and wherever the sort of opportunity to have their own sort of system that allows them to track delivery